We're about to jump into today's live NBA mailbag, but before I get there, I want to make sure that you have subscribed to the channel at youtube.com/chatsportstv. We are growing quickly, rapidly, just at a rapid pace here at Chat Sports. We're trying to get to 225,000 subscribers, and we are this freaking close. So if you haven't subscribed already, scroll on down and hit that big red button to make sure you're subscribed so you can stay up to date with all things NBA. Micah Alexander Davis says, do you think the Bulls will make the playoffs with the roster and Patrick Williams? I don't think they're there yet. I don't think they really want to be there yet. I think they're ready to tank at least one more season. And I like Patrick Williams. I like the fact that they took a long shot on a long-term project. But he's not 2 years away from being 2 years away, but he is 2 years away at this point. You're not going to put him in right away and expect him to compete. You're going to put him in and hope that, hey, that raw talent shines through and that his defensive versatility becomes as good as it can be. So, no, I don't think the Bulls are quite ready to make the playoffs. It's Kanan says, thoughts on LiAngelo Ball. If his name was LiAngelo Smith or, I don't know, LiAngelo Brown or LiAngelo Downey or LiAngelo Graham or LiAngelo Crowther or LiAngelo Rins, he would not have an NBA contract right now. But because it's LiAngelo Ball, he is in the NBA. I'm sorry. He's not. I'm not saying I'm better. Let's get that very clear. When I say he's not good, I'm not comparing it to myself. I'm comparing it to actual NBA prospects. LiAngelo Ball he's not good, okay? He's just not. They gave him a contract because it's the Pistons and they need a little bit more publicity. And you know what? They did that. So, round of applause for the Pistons, but also a round of applause for LeVar Ball for being the evil genius that I think we all kind of knew he was by getting all three of his sons under an NBA contract. Let's go to Drake. Of course, a longtime watcher of the show, Drake, says, who's going to step up with Porzingis down? So, obviously, Kristaps Porzingis suffered that torn meniscus in Game 1 of the playoffs against the Clippers, but he played through it. But now he's expected to miss at least the first 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season for the Dallas Mavericks. And lucky for them, they have a lot of big men under contract. Dwight Powell, he's coming back off an Achilles injury, but he will be back in the rotation. I think Maxi Kleber will get the biggest bulk of the minutes to kind of have to take over from what's missing in Kristaps Porzingis. Willie Cauley-Stein has a real chance to prove himself as a rim-rolling center that can play good defense and be a rim protector. James Johnson, of course, is more of that kind of 3-4, as much of a less than a 4-5, but I think he's a good option as well. And then you got Boban Marjanovic, who in spot minutes can work as well. But I think you see those first 3 guys on the list, they will play a much heavier role. I think James Johnson will still play a big role in that first half, but he'll play more of that 3-4 position. If you want more Mavs coverage, go to youtube.com/allthingsmavs and subscribe to help me out there. And also, while you're watching, I want you to make a prediction for me. What seed do you think the Dallas Mavericks will finish with in the Western Conference? I think they're going to be top 4 in the West this year. I think they have all the capabilities of doing that as long as they're healthy, which isn't always a guarantee with this team because of Kristaps Porzingis. But if they're healthy, I'm going top 4. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Zoe God says, just to piss Jimmy off, what player do you think the Knicks get with the Mavs first rounder next draft? Good question. And you know what? The Mavs pick, it probably lands in the 20s. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I haven't done enough scouting in the lower half of the first round of this draft. You know, I know the top guys like Jalen Suggs, Cade Cunningham, and Evan Mobley. But, I mean, you look at the end of the first half, or end of the first round, and I'm just looking at random players here. But Greg Brown out of Texas is an excellent athlete. However, the Knicks have enough power forwards, and he's more that power forward type. Matthew Hurt is a guy at Duke who has a chance to prove himself. Daishen Nix is a guy in the G League that could definitely take that next step in that 20-ish range. And then, I don't know, maybe if they want a point guard, Jared Butler out of Baylor could make some sense. But at the end of the day, that pick's going to be in the 20s, so I don't think it's going to be a huge difference maker of a player. Trenton Biddle, says, if Brooklyn gets Harden, will they be in the finals? For all intents and purposes, when it comes to on-court talent, they absolutely should be. But there's only one basketball. And when you have 3 guys that need the ball in their hands to be successful, there's a little bit of trouble there. I think they should be. I think they should find a way to make it work. But not only is it just one basketball, it's also just one locker room that 3 guys with really big characters, I'm not saying big egos necessarily, but big characters absolutely have to, try to coexist with. And I'm not sure that they would be able to do that. Now, I don't know how Steve Nash would handle that situation, but I'm just being honest with you here. I'm not sure this team would be finals bound, but I think if they wouldn't, it would be a huge failure, and everyone would realize that. But no, I don't think Brooklyn would go to the finals just because they got James Harden. One deal I want to tell you about is our friends over at Fanatics hooking you guys up at chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. If you're an NBA fan and your closet doesn't look more like a locker room with the amount of jerseys hanging in there, you need to go ask your mom, ask your dad, ask your significant other to go get you a jersey from chatsports.com/NBA jerseys before Christmas rolls around. They have every team you could imagine and every player you could ever think of. I'm even talking guys that are stuck down in the G League. Taco Fall, guess what? His Boston Celtics jersey is available at chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. Another thing that I love that they do with this link is they give you jersey insurance. So if you buy your favorite player and then all of a sudden he gets traded from the team, you can get that jersey replaced for free at this link only, chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. Gunna says, what moves do you think the Heat will make next offseason? Do they go for Giannis or go for someone like Beal? If Giannis declines the extension, I think Bradley Beal is the obvious answer. I think Victor Oladipo could be a little bit more attainable if they want to go to that next tier down. And I think that's totally fine. If you go with Victor Oladipo instead of a Giannis or Beal, that's still a win of the offseason if you ask me. Dylan Privet says, can the Hornets trade for John Collins? I guess they could, technically, but what would they be giving up? Malik Monk, Miles Bridges, and a pick? I don't know exactly. Obviously, Atlanta, if they're looking to trade John Collins, they're looking to go a little bit smaller and go with guys on the wings. And their wings that are only available are guys like Miles Bridges and Malik Monk, who are definitely solid players, but I'm not sure they are on the same level as John Collins. I think they're both good. I like Bridges and I like Malik Monk, but again, John Collins is a guy that is a 20-10 kind of guy. So, no, I don't know if they're going to be able to actually pull that off. Salome Dampere says, what if Harden goes to Golden State for Nico Mannion and Andrew Wiggins? I think we are severely overrating how good Wiggins and Nico Mannion are. Or we're severely underrating how good James Harden is, because that guy is a 32-plus point per game scorer every single night. Andrew Wiggins is a 20-point per game scorer on a very inconsistent basis. Nico Mannion is on a two-way contract. So let's not get in over our heads. Now, if you want to go Wiggins, Wiseman, Nico Mannion, and maybe a pick, maybe that gets it done. Maybe you throw in that Timberwolves pick next year. Maybe that gets it done. But Nico Mannion and Andrew Wiggins, absolutely hard pass by the Houston Rockets. If you want more Warriors coverage, though, I got you covered at youtube.com/WarriorsTV. Let's go to Daniel. Says, who's your surprise NBA playoff team this year? I don't know if it really counts as a surprise at this point because I think people are starting to expect it, but I think the Hawks are the team that jumped from not being in the playoffs to in the Eastern, Conference playoff race. I think they should be firmly top 6, probably in the East if all things go correctly and, they can make up for on offense what they lack in defense, which, they should be able to do. If I had to go with another one, I think the Memphis Grizzlies are still getting overlooked. They had a great year last year, but I'm not convinced they're going to be a playoff team just because they're still so young, or at least they're so young at this point. So West, I'd go Memphis. East, I'd go Atlanta. Another team to watch out for, maybe the New Orleans Pelicans could jump in and surprise some people as well. Bryce Veith says, can Wiseman win Rookie of the Year? Another Warriors question coming in here from Bryce. He's going to get a lot of usage. Here's the thing about James Wiseman. He's going to come into a team where he's going to be in a place where he is needed in the rotation because they needed that big man, and that gives him a chance to be great. Another difference between guys like James Wiseman and, say an Anthony Edwards or an Obi Toppin or LaMelo Ball is that Wiseman's coming into a situation that is ready to win right now. So if Wiseman puts up good numbers, let's say he puts up 18 and 10, which is a bit ambitious. I'm not going to say he's going to actually average that much. But if it's 18 and 10 and the Warriors are, a top 6 team in the West, I would rather have that than a guy like Anthony Edwards if he were to put up, 23, 3-3 on a losing team like the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I think he has every chance in the world to win Rookie of the Year if this Golden State Warriors team is good and if they rely on him heavily enough. What do you guys think? Who do you think will win NBA Rookie of the Year? Do you think it'll be a guy like James Wiseman or maybe an Anthony Edwards, maybe a LaMelo Ball? I've said Obi Toppin as a potential answer. I think there are a lot of good picks and a lot of good players that came out of the top of this draft. So let me know who you guys think will win NBA Rookie of the Year in 2020-2021. Bob the Pickle says Rockets get 2 first and 5 second-round picks and Carson Edwards. Guys, come on. I mean, the Celtics didn't even play Carson Edwards last year. He was stuck in the G League, okay? I was on board when you said 2 first-round picks and 5 second-round picks, and then I saw the player you threw in there. I like Carson Edwards. I hope he's great. He's averaging 3 points per game in the NBA right now. Let's be realistic. If the Celtics want James Harden, they have to give up either Kemba Walker, which I don't think they want Kemba Walker if they have John Wall, or Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, at least. And I don't think you give up Jason Tatum for James Harden. I honestly, at this point, I wouldn't give up Jaylen Brown for James Harden if it had to come with all those draft picks as well. If the Celtics want to pull something off, maybe somewhat realistic, I don't know, maybe Marcus Smart and a few picks and your young guys like Aaron Nesmith or Grant Williams. But I can promise you right now, if the Rockets heard Carson Edwards' name come over the other line of over the other end of the phone, they're just going to laugh. I'm sorry. They're just going to say, absolutely not. Try again next time. Dragaila says, do you think the Warriors will make the playoffs? Yeah, honestly, I think it's a really easy pick. In fact, when Klay Thompson was healthy, I had them as top 4 in the West. I really thought they would be the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. But now, I'm not sure they're that high up. I definitely have them top 6 or 7, but the depth on that team is definitely lacking. You know, adding Brad Wanamaker helped, but I don't want to severely overrate how good Brad Wanamaker is. You know, if your backups are like guys like Kent Bazemore and Damian Lee, you might need to make sure that starting 5 is good and ready to go, and I do think it will be. Now, who do you guys think is the biggest threat to come out of the Western Conference this season? If you think it's the Clippers, type LAC. If you think it's the Mavericks, type DAL. If you think it's the Denver Nuggets, type DEN. Obviously, the biggest threat to the Los Angeles Lakers that will most likely be that number 1 seed in the Western Conference. But the biggest threat to the Lakers in the West, let me know who you guys think it might be. Clippers, the Mavs, the Nuggets, or if you think it's somebody totally random, let me know in the comment section, or if you're watching live with us right now, in the live chat. Speaking of the Los Angeles Lakers, Rashard Lee says, do you think the Lakers will be the number 1 seed again? I do think they'll be the number 1 seed again. I don't think they have any excuse not to be because they were the number 1 seed last year. They were the NBA champions last year. And then they beefed up their team. They added Dennis Schroeder. They added Marc Gasol. They added Montrezl Harrell. They added Wesley Matthews. And that's an upgrade over guys like Avery Bradley, Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee. So I don't think the Lakers have any excuse not to be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference again because they're another year older with experience, and they are like 4 players better than they were just last year. Zach B says, do the Raptors trade Lowry or hold on to him? I think it kind of depends. If Lowry says, hey, I want to stay in Toronto, I'm going to re-sign next year because he's the NBA champion that he is, you give him another contract, okay? Like, you don't let that guy walk, a guy that's been your franchise point guard and has stayed through a lot of the thick and thin of that team. But if he says, hey, I'm probably going to leave in free agency, then you trade him and try to find something else for him. But as of right now, I would hold on to him until he says he wants to go somewhere else. Cooper asks, Suns play win now or play for the future? Why not both? You know, if you add Chris Paul, obviously you're playing more for a win now mode. But that being said, Chris Paul also helps mentor these younger guys like Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and Cam Johnson, and now I guess Jalen Smith out of Maryland as well. Of course, Mikal Bridges is there. So it's a little bit of both. Like right now, I think they're still a borderline playoff team. I think they're probably the 8th seed, maybe the 7th seed. But, you know, they're also better for the future with guys like Booker and Ayton and Cam Johnson all there, and Mikal Bridges. That's a team that can win for the next few years in the future. Vincent Miller says, what's the next move for the Rockets? Trade James Harden. I mean, it's just that simple. Get rid of this drama. It's ridiculous. I mean, at this point, take what you can from the Nets, send them off, or maybe send them to a different team. If there's another team calling that says they'd give them something, do it. In fact, if I'm the Rockets and I'm dealing with all this James Harden drama right now and he's really just not going to show up, I'm shipping him off to Cleveland, and I'm not thinking twice about it. I'm going to send him anywhere he does not want to go as long as I get a good return. Because if they let's say the Cleveland Cavaliers call him, they say, hey, we'll give you Kevin Love, 2 first-round picks, and I don't know, like a Kevin Porter Jr. or a Dylan Windler. You do it, okay? Because at this point, I'm done dealing with the Harden drama, and if he doesn't want to act right or show up to work, send him off for all I care. That's my take. Ryan Vasquez says, which Mavs rookie will contribute the most? Good question. So the Mavs are going to have technically 4 rookies in the regular season. They'll have Tyler Bay, they'll have Tyrell Terry, Josh Green. They also have Nate Hinton under a 2-way contract. Now, other guys like Devontae Patterson and Freddie Gillespie are just camp invites, so you don't really count them. At least I won't really count them. I think in the long run, the best player of that group is going to be Josh Green. That's why they took him 18th overall. But right off the bat, I think Tyrell Terry is going to come in and be an amazing three-point shooter. Now, I don't think he's going to play more than 20 minutes a night. In fact, I think he'll get more in that 10 to 15-minute range. But that's saying a lot for Rick Carlisle, who doesn't always love his rookies. So I would go, if I'm putting them in like tiers, if I'm ranking them, Tyrell Terry 1, Josh Green just right behind him. Maybe defensively he makes a little bit more of an impact, or he will for sure. Tyler Bay, and then Nate Hinton. I don't think we'll see much of Nate Hinton, but Rick Carlisle does love him some Tyler Bay. I can tell that much from his training camp press conferences. BB says, do you believe the NBA season could be postponed or even canceled due to COVID? No, I don't. We've seen now college sports go through it. We've seen the NFL go through it. We've seen the MLB go through it. We've also gone through with the NBA bubble, and it all worked out. Listen, you're probably going to have a couple games that get postponed, maybe a couple games that get canceled. But in a season that's 72 games, you're going to be just fine. Is it going to suck some nights when it's like all of a sudden, 3 minutes before the game, we find out 5 guys have it? Sure, you're probably not going to always see all the brightest stars every single night, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to find a way to get through this. But also, nobody really knows what they're talking about when it comes to this whole thing. So who knows? I could be totally wrong. Clay says, how many players will the Nuggets use next season? Starting 5 plus Monty Morris, Facundo Campazzo, R.J. Hampton, Will Barton, Green, Zeke Naji, Bol, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay, throw Isaiah Hartenstein out the window. He will not play any minutes for the Denver Nuggets. You got your starting 5. I think Monty Morris will easily play a big impact. I think Will Barton will play a big impact. I think Najee will get some real minutes, and I think, because I think Najee has to play real minutes for this team because they need a backup now to Nikola Jokic, so I think he will. And then JaMychal Green, that's who Green was. I was kind of blanking for a moment. So Green, Najee, Morris, and I think either Bol or R.J. Hampton will get some pretty solid minutes for that Denver Nugget team.